I have been a father for exactly a week now. It's such a powerful vibration, it's impossible to explain. Watching my child's early development is amazing. I am amazed at how he responds to sound in particular. And breasts. This child is fully about that breast life. Observing his pursuit of breasts is a revelation in itself. His motor skills are on point. Nahanda says he moves like a baby a significant number of weeks old. His neck and his arms work in sometimes surprising synchrony. Very strong. I am in the mind of studies that suggest that a majority of children operate at genius level in their formative years, only to have their minds retarded by society, especially the education system, as they mature. This child is sharp, so I know he will present me with some very welcome challenges as he gets older. I am looking forward to seeing what he does with what we teach him. But the other challenge is going to be maintaining his brilliance, allowing it to expand rather than diminish, protecting it from the world. We were discussing this last night as we read through Awakening the Natural Genius in Black Children by Amos Wilson. In it, he says, one of the major things necessary for enhancing the intelligence of our children is to have a knowledge of their development. It has been shown clearly that it is not so much income, but a knowledge of how our children develop that is very important to their intellectual development. Using the various indicators he outlines, we discussed how we're going to keep our son stimulated, how we're going to cater for his physical and language development, etc. According to Amos Wilson's work, African children are advanced while physical interaction with the world is the key factor in development, but tend to shift and sometimes fall behind once language becomes the key factor. The other day I watched a program where Anne Robinson accompanies a woman to a toy store. The woman shows how the various toys attributed to girls and boys allows boys to develop psychomotor skills and interests that girls tend not to. I shared this with Nahanda, and she spoke to the fact that children don't even have certain toys again. At our Saturday school, children have come back not having done their homework because I don't have colouring pencils at home, and things like that. So we discussed what our son must have in his environment and how we communicate with him in ways that enhance his language development. All this is a science. Parents have to be scientists. The beautiful thing is, interactive ways for catering for his intellectual development will also contribute to his spiritual and emotional development. All our children are natural genius. We just have to be parents worthy of their genius. 1 week down, the rest of my life to go. Peace and blessings, kings and queens. Shakara back again for another new Black Daddy Diary. You know what I mean? Tenda and Wari, giving thanks unto the Mother, Father of creation. You know what I mean? As I said in this one, I was a week old as a father. Yeah, my son was a week old at this point when I wrote this one. And when you're a new parent, these little landmarks, they mean nothing. You're very conscious of the 1 month and the 2 month, and now I just passed the 6 month. You know what I mean? So you're very conscious of these little mini landmarks, especially because they're developing so fast. And this is really what this is about. How the child's development, like just how much he developed from the time he was born to a week later was a lot. You know what I'm saying? In particular, we're starting to get used to his patterns now and his own routines, which were pretty consistent, I must say. And we give thanks for that level of consistency, that he showed from relatively early, getting used to his feeding patterns, you know what I'm saying? How he responds to things. Well, like I said in the reflection, what particularly interested me was how he responded to sound, he already had so much of his character and his personality. He gave the doctors and the nurses a hard time. You know what I'm saying? Apparently a lot of children, they don't like their foot being grabbed onto. But because he was on some antibiotics and everything there, and I don't know if he could sense mine and his brother's apprehensions where these things are concerned, but he would give the nurses problems. You know what I'm saying, in trying to administer these antibiotics sometimes. And but it was just beautiful, like, to see the levels of his development. I got to see firsthand because my queen had already told me that he responds a lot to my voice when he was in the womb, so I got to see this firsthand now for the first time. like, and through singing to him and them kind of things there, you know what I mean? And so obviously we had just got home a couple of days at this point, and yeah, just getting used to his, his vibrations and his energies, and allowing that to shape the environment of the house a whole heap, you know what I mean? Me, his mother, and his big sister, So yeah, it was giving thanks to this point. It was a beautiful process. One of the things that I began to realize is that he was even already getting used to the different sounds of the different voices, you know what I'm saying? And who we all were. I began to be conscious of that, because it's like, I couldn't describe how, but I felt like he was responding differently, yeah, to each of us. I remember feeling like that. But in particular though, what was fascinating to me, obviously the first thing that baby learns to do is to feed, yeah, to latch onto the breasts. And what obviously they say swallowing is one of the things that, it's a natural instinct, yeah. But a lot. So because of the fact that it's one of the first thing they learn to do, a lot, you see their development of their motor skills, yeah, directly around breastfeeding, yeah, and then feeding at times. And it's like, it used to amaze me how he would act, and how his body would move in order to accommodate, the breasts, yeah. Now I used to like. The first thing was because his mouth was so small, and obviously, like, I don't want to talk about my queen business, but you know what I mean. Like, it used to amaze me, like, how is he gonna get like this? Like, the breast is bigger than his whole head. How is he gonna, what I'm saying, facilitate the situation? And he does, what I'm saying, he did. But it was more just how his hands would move around and how he would, move his neck. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was like, this child is on serious you, from very early, So that was amazing to me, you know what I'm saying? But obviously it's the hand-eye coordination, and how that's developing, and how, their fingers wrap around objects and them kind of things. You're just learning a lot of these things, their psychomotor skills, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's beautiful. So obviously in the reflection that I mentioned, this fantastic book, yeah, Awakening the Natural Genius in Black Children, Awakening the Natural Genius in Black Children, or of Black Children, and I would say this book is essential read, yeah, for anybody really looking to get into your child's early development and how to really stimulate, yeah, their senses and their consciousness early in life, you know what I'm saying? From birth really. He deals with most of the formative years in the book, and I quoted from it already, but in it he gives a lot of tips and strategies for basically developing an environment that is conducive, yeah, to your child's development. He begins by talking about the environment of the home, and them kind of things there, and how your responsiveness to the child's needs, yeah. We might take it for granted that, you have to feed the child, respond to them when they're crying. But how he breaks it down is that through that process of being responsive to baby's needs, what you're doing is developing a sense of trust between you and the baby. And in developing that trust, the child becomes confident. It develops a sense of confidence within themselves because of the nature of the environment. The environment is responsive to them, yeah? And so like, that is very deep. Like, when you think about it on the level of the fact that through catering to your child, you are developing their own sense of self-confidence, yeah, from their birth, yeah. And I think that's important, you know what I'm saying? More than just, their psychomotor development or them learning to understand sounds, you know what I'm saying, them kind of things there. It's their character development, being conscious of the fact that we're developing their characters from early, yeah. And a good companion to that book by the same author, if I haven't said his name already, it's Amos Wilson. But this particular book, yeah, which was written actually before Awakening the Natural Genius, is called The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child, yeah. And this really does what it says on the tin, okay. It gives you an idea of how children develop, yeah. Their brain development, their psychomotor skills, language development, all them kind of things there. And more specifically, it deals with how Black African children develop. And so he cites research that was done on children in places like Kenya and them kind of things there, and how quickly we develop relative to all the rest of the children on the planet, to be honest with you. And yeah, but obviously studying these things and being able to chart my son's development as a result of the things that I had learned, yeah, it was beneficial to me. Just what I'm saying, because I was able to tailor things to what stage of development I knew he'd be at. You know what I'm saying? So if I understand that our children, are usually raising, able to hold up their head to a certain degree by a few days old, I can judge that. You see what I'm saying? And not take liberties with it either, but judge it at the same time. So yeah, later on in the video, I'm gonna give you some examples of the things that we have done in terms of helping to develop our child. And hopefully people get something from it. You know what I mean? So yeah, but we'll come back to that in a second.